I'm gonna join you. I'm smoking too.
Okay.
I'm vaping though. So well, I pulled over the type police. It's a citizen's arrest. No,
Okay.
it's no, no. It's like when the cop comes to school and starts like telling everybody about what it's like to be a cop, and why you should be a cop. And I can ask all the stupid questions about being a cop. Um, well, one thing I wanted to ask you your thoughts on was because I've watched a number of your INFJ videos and like your interviews with INFJs, and also the one you did. I commented on it, but it was like a half hour or how long? I forget how long it was, but it was like you were going through stuff you had written, and then it ended very poetically. And I'll admit, I kind of like welled up a little bit. I enjoyed it, but basically, like all this stuff written about INFJ that I read, it resonates very strongly with me. But I was talking to Spacey, and he speculated ENFJ, or sorry, ENFP, and it got us down the topic of like NI versus NE, and I've done a lot of reading on those two things. But I'm curious to hear from your take. Um, to either like validate or clarify how I understand it and help me find because Any is very good at like just leading the conversation in so many unpredictable directions. So um, I feel like I might be seeing things too narrowly or something. I'm not sure about that, but
Well, okay. I mean, I think that the intuition functions. First thing to think about them is that they're different kinds of functions. One's a knowledge function, one's an action function. So that's important. But the other thing I'd note is that introverted intuition, it wants to find singular best way of doing things. And one way of making that more intuitively felt by the person or sort of grokked with or whatever is to note the fact that if you pair it with TE, it becomes ordinal. In other words, there's an order of operations. NITE is ultimately wholly concerned with an order of operations, reducing things to sets of action steps you take. So it's like TE wants to satisfy FI, what you want, by rendering into a recipe, like an algorithm, a physical world algorithm of behaviors you can engage in to attain the thing you want. Now, those specific behaviors may not all be physical world things, but the set of behaviors you got to engage in is specific to your ergonomically shaped want. That is to say, a particular want that's specific to you. That means the TI always has to be, the TE always has to be customized for the problem. So there's no non-customized TE, and this is one of the mistakes that Dave Superpowers makes. He talks about TE having a role in the universal utility of something. That he makes a distinction between the way of viewing the world that is form based versus function based. That it doesn't matter how pretty that doorknob is, if it doesn't turn, it won't open the door. So the turniness and the openness and the utility of the thing is universal somehow. But that's not true. It's a misunderstanding of the world. It is true that we all have so similar a purpose for a doorknob that its fundamental functionality of letting us through the door can be universalized. That's not an aspect of TE, that's a consequence of TE. So the point about the NI is TE with NE works differently, and it doesn't really work with NE. TE works with SI sometimes if you got an ISTJ or an ESTJ. but it works differently with SI. It's more of a personal heuristic kind of approach. Regardless, understanding the difference between NI and NE, I think, helps to understand that singularity expresses with TE as a single recipe to accomplish a specific goal, and that's one way of understanding NI's singularity. Look,
I lost something in there.
Okay, well, baking bread, I mean, like baking a cake is NI, in the sense that you either do it, you have to, it's like chemistry. You got to do it exactly the right temperature for exactly the right number of minutes, and if you get all the things perfect, you're executing this recipe perfectly, then you are a good baker. But there's an alternative, which is like NE stir fry. So you start off with a pan with a little bit of, I don't know, rice in there or whatever. You go, I'll put a little bit of chicken in there. You make it, gradually you build up something that tastes good over time, throw in random shit, and then you got it around the house, right? Mm-hmm. They can both make a good meal, but one of them requires you to follow an algorithm. This is a metaphor for NITE. NITE is like baking a cake. You got to follow the algorithm. You can't just play around with it. If you say, "Oh, I'm gonna try mixing in a couple of eggs and a cup of buttermilk, and I'm just gonna stir it a little bit more than it says, and I'm gonna bake it a little longer than it says, and it's gonna come out like a piece of shit." There's certain things in life that are conducive to that singularity of approach, and certain things that are conducive to the seat of the pants, mush it along as you go kind of approach. NE prefers the latter approach. NI is not really an action function, so it's not really an approach, but it lends itself best to an approach that's not so scattered, right?
I mean, that's how I understand it.
Okay.
I think we understand it the same way.
All right. I mean, I think the thing that a lot of people mistake about NI is that it's somehow all about the intuition part of it. There's the intuition part of it when you go, aha, then this single great idea sings. But much of NI is less dramatic than that. It's avoiding obvious mistakes, for example. Mm-hmm. Like checking yourself and going, no, don't say that. That's not going to work. That joke will fail. That's not funny. And realizing it, knowing the single truth of it before you spit it out or something. That happens almost on a sub-time level, There's a lot of NI involved in that kind of stuff, but it's not some sort of vision of truth. It's just knowing, just knowing, being intuitive, basically. I think if you're an NI or an NE Dom, you're going to be good at both.
I think if I was to say the kind of evidence that I've observed for me is, as I've gotten older, I started speaking less because I could start to predict how much of what I was going to say was actually the wrong thing, and so I felt like I'm not going to say as much because it's likely going to be the wrong thing, and then I speak when I know it's going to be okay enough, Well,
how did you conclude that it was? The important question is, how did you determine this predictability aspect? Did you realize over time as you made mistakes and then you excised them from your behavior and gradually refining your behavior into something that's more effective? Or did you do it you do it more of a sudden and sooner and require less experience and generally generalize out about people's emotional responses rather than be more particular about it?
I think I don't know how to answer one or the other on that, but to articulate it, I guess, I would just say that as time has gone on in my life, it's just a sense that I've grown that of how absurd people would think most of the things I have to say really are. Like foolish, I guess, and so I keep the foolishness inside basically most of the time.
Well, at that moment right there, you sound like my ISTJ friend talking about his shutting down his NE because his girlfriend doesn't like it because she's an ESFP. I mean, he doesn't explain it that way, but that's how I'm explaining it. But
hmm
talks
I was
about
raised by an ISTJ. I mentioned that in the video like further on that I had made that you watched, but I was raised by an ISTJ who was very restrictive on me. He's a pastor who put me inside of a box. So I feel like I've had some discussions in these rooms with other people, and we've talked about how it seems like when you're younger, if you are pushed into situations where you're not normally most comfortable, you'll develop cognitive functions that you wouldn't normally develop because you wouldn't normally prefer to use those cognitive functions.
I don't know how
Why?
bad.
I want to hear the reasoning behind that one.
Well, we heard the reasoning behind it is that because you're forced to
No, that's a
practice.
statement, not a reason.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Is not the reason you stated right there that because you practice them, you're forced to practice them in situations where you otherwise would avoid them, but you're not allowed to avoid them, that causes you to develop them?
That's the premise, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
so that's a
very
warrant.
generic situation.
Okay, but that is a warrant. It is a warranted claim. But I agree with you that the warrant doesn't withstand scrutiny, but it's not unwarranted. So the reason I don't think it withstands any scrutiny is because
It could be anything.
it's because no matter what type you are, you're going to have develop workarounds for your polar, and you're going to develop sometimes workarounds for other weak functions and or specific tricks. Like you might develop tricks in your backstack shit. You're not really very good at say NI, but you got a couple NI tricks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that noise?
I don't know.
Anyway, the thing is, it may be the case that you pick up more tricks, and that may be an SI phenomenon. I don't know if NI people pick up tricks in that fashion. It seems like sort of an SI heuristic thing. Regardless, I don't think you're going to be forced into using functions aren't in the front stack. I think you'll. Well, I don't know. I think you feel like you're forced into using your 8th slot function a lot. Is typically I would suspect because you don't really like to use it, but it's your role function in socionics, and it's what I would call your balanced function. A notion I got from Lightbulb. I should credit her for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand like what my relationship to SI would be if I am an INFJ. How does that fit into?
Okay, well, if you're an INFJ, then your SI is going to be 8th slot. You're going to use it when appropriate, and you're going to dislike overuse of it, and you're going to find you're going to maybe feel insecure about it as well. Now, what you're doing with the posture chair and stuff like that, that's more typical of ISTJ or potentially ISTP maybe. It's hard to say. But I mean, you're a tricky one to type. I haven't really put a lot of attention into typing you. Not as much as I should have. It's like
I would welcome it. Like whatever you want to ask me or whatever you think would get to the answer.
Is this a video, by the way?
Yeah, this is being recorded, and I'll be posting it on my channel.
Yeah, it's a video for him.
Okay. I'll wait until afterwards by asking you this question then.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. So the thing is, how particular are you about food?
Of everyone I know, I'm probably like middle of the road, like sort of particular, but not as like my daughter's more particular than I am. So I'm particular to textures of food. Certain textures really bother me. So.
Would you ever, if hungry and not feeling like cooking, just open a can of refried beans and eat it?
If I wasn't.
I have a question. I'll stop. I'll wait till you're done with that one.
Okay. I'm not a fan of refried beans, so is this a question related to just like eating some canned food or specifically refried beans?
Well, like, would you just at any meal go, I'm hungry, I don't want to hassle with eating, so I'm just going to open a can of something and eat it over the sink with a disposable spoon, so I don't have any dishes to do either.
My dishes, I try to take care of myself, so they're usually done or somewhere in the process of being done. I think typically I wouldn't do that. No, typically I would make something like a sandwich for myself. Probably only like leftovers, like taking them out, just dump them on a plate and eat them. But I don't think I would.
I want to hear Cindy's question.
Okay.
You were talking about uncomfortable situations when growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And relating to that, I just remember something you said about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Was he the one who would push you into situations you didn't like?
He was the earliest one to do that, yes.
Yeah. And what kinds of situations were they? Were they related to religious activities?
It would be like if my behavior did not fit exactly what he wanted, then I'd get that death look, and I knew that as soon as I was getting home, I was going to be going to my room, getting a paddling, and he'd use the wood and did it with a heavy swing, so it was a big event, each time it happened.
Yeah, so that's something you remember well.
I wouldn't say I remember any one particular, like maybe only one or two times, but I just sort of know that it happened a lot.
Yeah, but do you remember generic words he used to critique your behavior?
Like he would say I talk too much, or
Are you angry about that?
Not anymore, really, because I've mostly cut him out of my life. I mean, I've moved on. I've gone through a lot of therapy. I won't say that I am angry because he's a product of his dad, who was negligent and came back from World War II really messed up. So it's sort of like a shockwave. Now that I've done my homework on it and I understand what the history of my family is, I feel a little more at peace with how everything has gone, and I'm just not gonna spend any more time around him because of his views and my family's views. They have a real upsetting quality on me, and I'm just trying to live a more peaceful life.
His views? How about his history of violence against children?
And that too, yeah. I mean, that's also been a hard one to get past. So.
Well, that's depressing, Dan.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to depress you.
That's okay. You didn't depress me. You just said some depressing shit and made me sad.
It's some depressing shit, but I mean, I guess everybody comes from whatever background, and I do see a lot of lucky dice rolls that I had despite that. So I've been able to really get my shit sorted, and I'm still rewiring my brain. But I mean, at least I feel like the biggest hurdles have been overcome now. So.
I like that question. How do you feel like you were perceived? I would say, I prefer you to answer the question. How do you feel like you're perceived now?
By my parents, or?
I don't know, in general. Or how do you think you were? What do you? Yeah, sure, by your parents.
Well, they see things very one-dimensionally. So I think that they just see me as a rebel against God and a wayward son, and that's probably how they see it.
Do you think they play the song "Wayward Son" by Kansas?
I don't know. Probably not. Is it rock music? Then no. What was that? What was the other? Oh, so you asked how do I think I'm perceived, but then I qualified it as with my parents, but assuming you were asking in the larger sense, I think a lot of people, let's see, I'm perceived in very unusual ways by different people. Like some people see me as very confusing, like they have no idea what I'm talking about. Other people resonate really strongly with me, and I feel an instant connection with them. And other people think that I'm just really weird, and like, I was bullied too in school, so it's like yeah.
How do you know that someone perceives you a certain way?
I don't know. I just feel it. I just know it. It's well, I mean, it's sometimes they'll do things that they're unmistakable how they feel. You know what I mean? Like, but
Such as?
like pitch of their voice, the look on their face, the body language, the things they're saying, how aggressively they're saying them, what they're talking about,
How much do you try to manage people's perceptions, do you think? And what is... Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I have found enough of a core inside myself that I will not back down from, that I do have I do have lines now that I won't, whereas I really just kind of went with the flow, and I managed everyone's perception growing up all the time.
Okay, but that thing you said first, how is that managing other people's perceptions?
What was the first thing I said? I think I was going somewhere, and I only got chapter 1 out of like 4 chapters of what I was gonna say, and I lost track of what I was gonna say.
You said something about something.
What's that?
I think you might be an INFP.
That's interesting.
But it's hard to tell. I get more of a sense now what you mean by like you were compelled to use a function you normally ignore and countervalue, sort of. You don't exactly countervalue it, but you'd like to be in environments that allow you to ignore FE if you're an INFP. And having developed pretty good FE and pretty careful or attentive FE is not inconsistent with an INFP, especially given the circumstance you're talking about. That would seem to make sense. But I don't feel sure about it. Susie, what were you thinking?
When I asked him about other people's perceptions, he started talking about finding something inside himself. That's not FE, that's FI.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, what I want, the reason I wanted to mention that, that was a caveat though, is what that was. After I went through a divorce when I was 29. My kids were 1 and 3 at the time. Ex-wife tried to take the kids away. I had to go through a whole ordeal, and it's more SI because I'm trying to give you context of who I am as a person, or where I've come from, anyways. Just history. I can't necessarily. I can tell you of the plans that I have for the future if you want to talk about those things.
I don't think you're a censor. I don't think you're a censor.
But then, can you not tell how you are without relating it to historical facts?
Can I talk about who I am without relating myself to historical facts? If I were to do that, then I would talk about my ideals, I suppose, or I would talk about...
But the ideals, is that how you are?
the ideals influence how I am. The ideals influence like the decisions that I make, or how I interact with people.
Come on out here, Kim. Sorry, I had to
Yeah, sure,
shout at
that
Kim.
influences you, but you are not the ideal.
Well,
Or do you see
Officer
yourself?
Officer
When I
Susie.
say put the chicken to bed, I mean put her in her bed, not sit her on the kitchen.
Yeah, it was
Officer
a
Susie.
relevant question.
You're bad cop. You're doing a great job of bad cop. Let's let some good cop
Hi,
in as
Dan.
well here. Okay.
hello,
You're
Kim.
giving them a pretty good interrogation.
What? I just asked a good question. That doesn't make me a bad cop.
Hi, bad cop.
Hi, Kimberly.
INFP 4W5. You want to chime in on this notion? Sorry, Stan. I forget this is your show.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know if it's a 5, but 4 pretty much is INFP.
I got a 4 in my chart.
Me too.
Yeah, at the bottom.
I saw.
I'm exaggerating.
I saw a survey of different types and their corresponding enneagrams, and 4 comes up for INFJ. At least the numbers I saw, it wasn't like the highest one, but it wasn't the lowest one either. So it was like the third one down or something like that.
I could believe in INFJ 4. I think they're usually 3s probably.
Oh, so yeah, the hive theory. Okay, so Justine mentioned. So this, I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I was trying to work on the problem of poverty, right? Human poverty. It's kind of a crazy one to work on, so I was looking at universal basic income and thinking about that, and I tried to conceptualize an app that would provide universal basic income, and I realized that there wasn't a strong enough way to get money into the ecosystem, so that could happen. But then I remembered there was this research done by a company called Unanimous AI that did human swarm technology for. It's basically group intelligence. It's group human intelligence to answer questions and to make predictions and things like that. So once I thought about that research and everything that I had tried on that, I saw how you could connect the two together to make an application that where people can play a game to answer questions and as a group intelligence, and other people could make the requests for the information and pay cryptocurrency, so that an information ecosystem builds up. And what that would allow people to do is basically play a game all day and make enough money to survive in this scenario where they're not able to work a job because they've been laid off due to automation. So what I'm working on now at my day job, because I mentioned in the other video I'm UX director, I have the flexibility to work on a new project, a new product, and so I'm supporting these other products that are in a further stage of development, but I'm also architecting this new tool I'm doing technical consulting with technical consultants that I have, friends that I have, and putting together requirements and wireframes and user flows and designs.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Look at this, huh? Look at that. Okay.
What do you got?
This is my UBI plan. I'm running for president.
What? Oh, I'll send you a link to my white paper.
All right, so actually I turned it into a debate case. So
Nice. Hey, wait. So I'll read this. Like I can't read it right now, but I will read this.
Okay, but the point is, it's very much like what you're talking about here. What I have as a plan is a crypto US dollar that has built into the architecture a 4% tax. Of course, the growth of the cryptocurrency out there to be mined has to outpace this 4% tax. And it's got a shelf life of 100 years, at which point it gets blinded off. Anyway, it's a great idea. It funds the UBI entirely by itself, just by people using the cryptocurrency. And people will use the cryptocurrency because they'll get paid in the UBI by the cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And it's all locked into a treasury loop so that Congress can't touch it.
Right. Awesome. I saw that there was someone else that tried to create a UBI coin of some kind, and I tried to use it or get on it, and it was unusable. There was so.
Well, Dan, when I'm president, I'll have a lot more leverage to make this shit happen.
All right. Well, I'm going at it from the bottom up approach, basically. So I'm going, okay, this won't be legislated. Like I don't predict in any way that the United States is going to implement any kind of UBI program. So
here's the key: it doesn't have to be legislated. It doesn't have to be legislated.
No, not if it comes from
talk about it. The president has to talk about it as though it were legislated. Now, we already know there's a thing called the Federal Reserve. It's a private bank that runs currency in the United States. There's no reason why Eric Strauss's Federal Crypto Reserve can't be a private bank that by fiat alone runs United States dollar cryptocurrency. No reason. It's all in the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I'm an ENTP. Trust me.
Okay, what was the topic of Dan's video?
I don't know.
Well, I was hoping to just interview Eric, ask him some questions, and
it got flipped.
Sorry?
And it got flipped. All of a sudden, you were answering questions.
Yeah. I pulled over the type police for a citizen's arrest and information. I'm having him check my child safety lock in the back to make sure that it fits it's up to code.
I'd rather you guys type police me. I'm claiming to be an ENTP, but
from everything I've read about ENTPs and believing my son to be an ENTP, you fit the criteria. You fit as good as the criteria as I could say of an ENTP. Okay,
but what are your ideas you're relating it to?
What are my ideas? Why you mean what? Why do I think he's what are the individual ideas?
Like not
sure.
Something you read,
okay.
like the actual argument.
Yeah, so the actual arguments I would use is, Eric, you demonstrate a very, very fluid and strong grasp, in my opinion, of extroverted intuition. You have a musicality to the way you present your arguments and the way you your rhetoric, basically. The way that you bounce back and forth between ideas to get to where you're going it's this little ballet that you do. It's like juggling, kind of. You just keep the balls in the air. You keep it moving. It's moving. Look over here. Look, I'm funny. Look, and eventually you win everybody over because you keep juggling well enough that everybody's like, holy shit, look at him juggle. So that's like your superpower.
I like that analogy. I think that's a good analogy.
Yes, Eric. You win everyone over.
No, okay, forget that part. I think the juggling analogy is a good one because it's true, and I don't always juggle. Sometimes I do drop shit,
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little bit of a disaster. But that's implicit to any,
Susie, you're the sister, though.
She's the bad cop.
Well,
you hear her busting my couch?
She's got, she's slept in the same house with you and spent a few days with you.
Yeah.
She knows. You're just as much an ass in person as you are.
She used her biggest strap on me. It was rough.
Ooh. Oh, so Eric, I'm gonna share that link. Let me find it real quick here.
All right, cool. White papers.
Yeah, it's a white paper.
It's the best color for paper.
Absolute best color.
For paper, Dan. Don't be so racist. God. And for the inside parts of bananas. We don't want them brown and mushy.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Let me see here. Recent. Okay.
This part of the video is not very exciting, Dan. I get bored as a viewer watching this.
We call this.
Yeah, I remember juggle.
I'm gonna have to fast forward.
We call
do
this
some
bad
funny
radio. Yeah, we call this bad radio.
Do a little dance.
You have to do funny stuff. In
Yeah.
Keep the audience engaged while you're still working. Multitasking. Yep. Good job.
Where did this coffee come from?
It's mine. Get hands
delicious.
off.
I'm just not that. I can't do that. I'm not. That's not who I am.
Why is it got no sugar in it?
Because I didn't have her fuss with it.
Where's mine? Didn't I get a coffee?
It's probably in the house. She probably called you and said, "Dad, your coffee's in here," and you ignored her.
Sorry, Dan.
That's okay. Oh. Hold on. Computer is stuttering. We're gonna cut this part out.
Well, now's your chance, Dan. Now you get to ask him without.
There we go. I found it. Hello.
I'm here.
Oh. My connection is, or something is stalling here.
Is
Are
it
you
us?
streaming?
Yeah.
I think it's him. I can hear you.
Yeah, it's probably on my end. I think it might actually be my computer. I have so much open right now.
Stop downloading porn.
I know,
Oh my
right?
god.
Okay, it finally caught up. Hold on. It finally caught up.
Yeah, like I mentioned what it could be. Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Alright. Got the link in there now.
Okay. Oh, hi.
That looks so gross.
Well, we didn't see much.
I'm so tired of working. Oh my god. I cannot wait for this Christmas break to start.
When's your last day of work?
Tomorrow.
Almost Christmas.
Almost. Am I ready? No.
Do you have all the things you need?
No, Eric's been on like a 2-week sleepy week, and like that means nothing on his end gets done but sleep in videos.
Oh.
Sleep in videos. But like he won't touch a dish. He won't touch, like he's just useless when he's on sleepy week.
Do you guys buy a lot of presents and things like that?
I do for the kids.
What about the Christmas tree?
I got a Christmas tree.
Of course you do.
I'm an ISFJ after all. Yeah, I'll have Eric take the video in there and show everybody our Christmas. We should
Sounds
take
like-
pictures of our Christmas tree and our presents and stuff.
We'll have a very Merry Christmas.
Cold coffee.
Alright, I linked you up to my paper.
All right, cool. I'll check it out.
Cool.
The human hive.
What? Human hive. Well, that's kind of TWFP-esque in nature, too. This TWFP has been called before. The hive word, hive mind, has been used before in describing that certain problems can be thrown out to the group and solved. Others, it just causes endless squabbling. It really depends.
Okay, so you're gonna be the next Google person.
I hope not.
So,
Who's
do you
this
have
person?
more questions?
Yes. How would I be able to see whether I prefer TI or TE within my own behavior or way of thinking?
Well, I guess it's a matter of how much prioritization you put on definitional stuff, really. And assuming it's with intuition, with sensing, it's a little bit different. But if you're a TI-NE user or a TI-NI user, so if you're NI-DOM, NE-DOM with TI-FE, then you're going to be very status-oriented and definitionally oriented in a way that's defensive. You don't want to get caught with TI. Like, I don't want to get caught with FE. I'm pretty careful with it. I try to be likable. If I make mistakes, I sweep real quick. So that's really the question is, how much are you dealing with things in terms of, okay, well, if I said that, though, then the other person might point out this contradiction that it was something else I said earlier, or they might bring up this other thing that would cause me a problem down the road. If you're doing a ton of that stuff, then you're NETI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but if you're doing some of that stuff and it doesn't really feel quite like that, it might be NITI. If you're using TE, you're applying a utility frame over everything. You're like, okay, well, why am I learning this? Or how can I utilize this in my life? It's like you're not an INTJ. I can tell you that for sure. So you're not NITE if you're an introvert.
Could you give me more other ones you could comfortably disqualify?
You're not
Well,
an ESFJ.
yeah, you're not an ESFJ, and you're not an ENTJ. You're not NITE. I don't think you're NITE. Do you think he's NITE, Susie?
Nah.
I don't think he's an NTJ. I would eliminate both the NTJs. I'd be tempted to eliminate the STJs, the ESTJ, but I'm not quite there yet. ISTJ still seems a possibility. That'd be TE in the second slot with SI. That's possible. That's, but I'm not quite ready to eliminate the STJs yet. But I can eliminate the NTJs. What else did you say, Susie? Not an ESFJ? Yeah, you're not an ESFJ. We can eliminate that.
What do you think about the approaches that relates to charges on cognitive functions, Eric? Like Model G stuff?
Well, I mean, I don't understand. It doesn't seem mechanically necessary. It doesn't seem to inform my understanding of things very much. And
Okay.
it just sort of descriptively taxonomical at best. But it's treated as though it's something else.
Why?
Like, I don't buy Mega Bros plus and minus for sure. Like TI minus, TI plus. I get it sort of as a conceptual distinction, but
Okay,
TI
I can see what you're saying because it makes sense with the rest of the stack anyway.
Well, TI minus is negating and TI plus is affirming. So they're both TI. You're just using them for different purposes.
That's not quite exact. It's like the evolutionary and devolutionary, what we call involutionary type. Like if you look at ENTP and INTP, ENTP creates, INTP tries to look what the fuck's going on.
Right.
Like that
So
should be an obvious one.
Nice. You and Susie.
we are
Mhm.
MBTI. It's true.
You and Susie are like the biggest MBTI nerds I've ever met.
Okay, and then you have ESFJ with positive FE and ISFJ with negative FE. They have different flavors of FE.
Well, there's no doubt that Kim has a specific flavor of FE, but I would say it's not plus or minus. It's put, get, or receive, and she's mostly in social situations. She's very putty at first, then she's very receivey for a long stretch, and she's not particularly getty, although she
Okay,
gets very.
Okay, but if you look at FE again and you look at the ENFJ and the ISFJ have same charge on the FE.
Say again, who has the same one?
ENFJ and ISFJ have the same kind of FE according to that, which is more drama oriented.
I don't agree with that at all. ENFJs,
Okay.
I don't agree with that. ENFJs are way more putty. Like, you think about ENFJs, they're always putting with their FE. They're always doing shit with it. Because in my model, the interface functions are a smush function that does put, get, and receive. Now, the action functions, NE and SE, they just put. The judgment functions, TI and FI, they just get. The knowledge functions, NI and SI, they just receive. But interface functions do all three. So interface types, the first or the second anyway, they're going to have their interface function best be taxonomy through this put, get, receive model, because then you can understand, like, oh, this is a very putty FE person. It's too much. They keep putting out a bunch of, is everything cool? Are you guys great? Have a wonderful day. Too much sunshine up your ass, right? That's going to be a put heavy FE person. And ENFJs can be like that. They'll win you over eventually, but they're not really that likable. They're kind of annoying.
ISFJ gives right about the perfect amount.
Right, ISFJ is careful. ISFJ and INFJ are both the two best types with the FE because.
Okay, but how does that work with introverts? I mean, you're just going with dominant is putty, and introverts are not because they're introverts?
No, I'm saying they have it as a tool function. They know how to use it more effectively. They're less awash. Like I don't really use my NE very effectively historically. I'm starting to hone it in a bit, but I haven't really used it effectively historically because I've been too awash in it. It's too much. You have to use. It has to be constrained by a format like Type Police or something, and then it starts to be a useful chunk of thing. Who actually uses extroverted intuition well is INTP. They use it best because it's their tool function. Just like ENTP uses TI best, even though they're not the best at it. Like we're not the strongest at it, but we use it more effectively because it's our tool function.
That's a weird way of looking at it.
Could I jump in to answer a question that somebody asked?
Yeah. Damn.
Cool.
Sorry.
That's all right. It seemed like the momentum had slowed down, so it was a good time to jump in. So the question that Justine asked is, are you good at making creative projects come to fruition? And I would say I've gotten a lot better at that. Actually, there is another project I wanted to show you, Eric. I'm showing you this saying, I know that it could be bad, and I just want to find out how bad, and like, it's okay, you can tell me my baby's ugly. It's more about me wanting to improve it. It's basically it's like a gift recommendation website based on MBTI type. So I just posted the link there.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out with my eyes. Let's see.
With your eye holes.
Yeah. Which are two of my favorite holes on my own body.
Okay, so now I'm gonna check out. What would you give me if you were giving me a gift?
I typically ask the person that I'm gifting what they want, and then they tell me, and then I get it for them.
Okay, well, just so you know, I have some little tags that I make that I can put on people's, they're like little, what are they? They're like little clay keychains.
The face squares. You glue them to your face.
And I think,
Look at this. Wow, look at this website he has. He looks all fancy. Oh, so you think you're all fancy, huh?
Yeah, okay. 2 comments. I don't need a book to be creative, and I don't need a book to do fun.
To be what? What was the last part?
Puns. You suggested a book on puns.
Oh.
I think it's,
I worked with a couple of different people on the gift selection, by the way, so it's just
I'm just joking.
yeah, no worries. I have gotten some feedback that the gifts were pretty on the money, and I've changed a few of them when I found out that people were like, no, but I could still be off. So I always want to know, like, it's slow going getting these gifts going. I'm paying a guy to do
I'm just messing
it.
with you.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just talking about the project in general.
I want to see the ISFJ gifts.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna check out ESFJ Gifts.
Oh,
I think it's a great idea.
I
I think
don't-
this is a great idea. I think you need better and more text. You need text to go with each of the things.
Well, yeah, when you open it up, there's a description inside, and that'll explain the rationale, if there was a rationale. It's usually just mostly just trying to be like light, fluffy,
Right.
Just throwaway marketing copy, like, hey, this is fun and cute, and
So I think what you should do is have more written content on there, and then have links to these things within the written content too. So there's people have a reason to go to this
yeah.
page, a reason to go to those pages, and then like, here's some cognitive function analysis stuff.
Well, I have my little ISFJ group on Facebook, and I often see people of other types coming in and saying, I have a date with this ISFJ, and I'm supposed to like bring a gift, and I don't know what to get her, or my cousin, or my sister, blah, 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 blah.
Well, you gotta hook up
And
MBTI
you gotta
Gifts
go
and
to,
share
like-
your
Yeah.
ISFJ group for them, okay? So
Yeah.
you put it in there. I just right now realized MBTI Gifts, because it's like that's your name, is because your thing is you're actually MBTI Gifts. It's not like, here are the gifts of the cognitive function.
That's right.
It's
It's not metaphorical. It's literal.
It's a great idea.
literal
It's-
gifts.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, you
I
should
come
make
in-
up some creative texts for those gifts. That would be funny. But I think maybe SFJs must be the easiest ones to give a gift.
So who is providing you with the products?
Well, they're not provided to me. They're all on Amazon. So what I do is I've had 3 different people work on it with me at various times, but right now a friend of mine, I'm paying him, a modest amount of money, and I have a Slack and devoted to that, and there's a channel for each type, and then we go and do research on Amazon through all their gift lists, and we just go through and look for stuff that looks good or interesting, and then it sometimes jumps out like, which type might this be good for,
So then if they buy it through your website, you get a cut of it or something?
Yeah, so it's the Amazon affiliate program. Basically, we generate a unique URL for each of these, and then so it's sort of like, hey, for the recommendation, all you got to do is just click this button and buy it. Just make sure it's not going to cost you any extra money. So just buy it through Amazon the way you normally would, and we'll get.
So how do I get hooked up with you? I'm already sold.
You don't have to do all you have to do is just use the website. That's it. If
MBTIGifts.com.
Okay.
If
I want to make vinyl stickers for cars.
She wants to make something that you sell on your website.
Yeah.
He's not selling anything.
That's fine. It could be anything. So if you have
a referral link.
Yeah, if you have something on Amazon and you want me to put it in MBTI Gifts, I'll put it in.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
So I want to make vinyl stickers for people's cars with their types on them, so that they can.
Yeah.
So what you want is an Amazon store, and then we can send him the thing. And
exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
I can sell anything you want to sell. Anything you want to sell.
What if I just find the name of the item and then I go and search it on Amazon and you don't get anything?
You could, but why would you do that? Because it doesn't cost you anymore either way.
No, here's how it works. Here's how it works. If you click the link from MBTI Gifts and see the item, it puts a cookie on your machine where within 30 days, if you purchase that item, then MBTI Gifts will get credit for the purchase.
Oh, that's sneaky and good.
No, it's not sneaky. I mean, it's just how how Amazon works,
Or should you say it's sneaky of Amazon?
Oh, it's sneaky of them? Maybe, I don't know.
It's smart. It's good. Yeah, it sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, it's still got referred.
I want to make vinyl stickers and stuff, and I think that I could sell quite a few to that sort of a crowd. But
so yeah, we need to set up an Amazon store, basically. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that at some point.
All right.
Hey, he's happy about it. You act like I'm talking about Hug Mug, but no.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's a little bit more involved than you probably think with your polar TE. Polar TE.
I'm going to show you something, Kim, where you can make stuff. Other people make it and ship it for you, and you just get paid for this design or whatever.
Okay. Is that Brother Bear?
Hmm?
Well, I don't know if I have any other questions. If you have any aha moments at some point, let me know.
Oh. Well, I got sidetracked by thinking about your website.
Yeah. No problem.
Good idea. I think you'll you just gotta maybe just get more content to bring people in. Google content.
I just frankly I need a lot more products. Like I said, I have a guy that I'm paying to put in products, and right now we're going at a pace of we've gotten about one a day or so on average for the past month. So we're somewhere around 40 or so since he started doing it. So we got to get up to like 700, 800 products on the site for it to be like enough that people would look at it and go, oh, there's I want that. You want to get enough that people can just keep going.
Huh. Well, I think you're
on to something, Dan.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to type. I'm back to typing now.
Oh.
I'm not. I'm still not. I still wouldn't arrest you for being an INFJ. I'm not convinced still either. But
you just like him too much.
No, not I just like him too much. It's that that's a good NI idea. It's well executed. It shows good TE potentially. But he says he's got other guys working on it, helping him do it, which is more of an INFJ thing, FE style. There's legit cause to not arrest his ass anyway.
Well, it's good TE to have someone else actually do the work.
But I don't have them. I only have them do it once I've figured out exactly every. Is that TE? I don't know. Like I figure out the whole pattern of what needs to be built and how it's going to be built, the quality of it, everything. And then I bring in the person, and I have a checklist of all the things they need that it needs to hit this, and this, and that way my quality standards can be replicated.
Well, you know what? You might be an ISTJ with very effective 8-slot NI. I guess that's possible. But you seem pretty good FE wise. I don't know. I go back to INFP as a possibility because INFPs are the chameleons. They can appear as a lot of different types.
It might be INFP because it's kind of squirrely.
Squirrely.
Yeah, it's like, I can see what you're doing. I can see when I sometimes make you uncomfortable.
Right. Well, INFPs have all the skill sets that make them the most difficult to type because they're FI, but they've got 8-slot TI, which is effective. They're SI, but it's 3rd slot, and their NI is 6th slot, so it's strong, even though it's countervalued. They can express in lots of different ways, but ignoring FE is good FE. INFPs typically have very good FE. They're very likable.
Oh, another thing, being withholding about reasons is very, like, when put on the spot, that's very typical inferior, some kind of T.
Right. Well, yeah. That could be FE too, though. It could be FE tool being careful about what he wants to say because he doesn't want to get parsed apart.
No, you're just being squirrely.
What was it?
No, you're just being a little squirrely.
Okay, well, I'm just saying I'm not convinced enough to arrest his ass. I'm not saying that he's not maybe an INFP. He might be.
But that, no.
That's probably pretty satisfying for you, Dan.
What's that?
That's probably pretty unsatisfying for you.
Well, the only reason it's unsatisfying is because of all of the descriptions I read about NI and how I feel, everything that I read about NI resonates really strongly with me. And I feel it actually more difficult to improvise on the fly the way any users seem to be able to do effortlessly.
I mean, I INFJ too. That's the thing. There are two types that are difficult to type. INFJs will take me a long time. They're not usually that difficult to type, but I'll eventually get. It takes me a little longer to get them, to feel on solid ground with them. And INFPs, I'll feel kind of back and forth about them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, INFJ is possible. I do see.
Ooh. You're just trying to shake me up now, right? Just trying to rattle the cage.
I think the type is malfunctioning right now.
Don't lean back. Don't lean back in my police car, or else you set out the siren. Anyway, yeah, I could totally see. I could see an INFJ. You know, you could even be a heavily beaten up ENFJ potentially.
No way.
Okay, all right. I'll backtrack.
No.
All right. Susie's my.
Wait, where's the SE? He was sitting around waiting for us to talk slower before he could put in his question. Like, where's the SE?
Yeah, okay, fine. You win that point, Susie.
SE users don't sit around and wait until we almost don't speak at all.
This is why none of the type police want you as their partner, okay? This is why. Because you're always busting everyone's balls. When the type police are out there trying to do their job, you come rolling in, you're all like, oh no, maybe he's not that. Maybe he's a censor like everybody else, I think. Is this always a censor?
I haven't said that now, have I?
You implied it. You implied it with subtle innuendo.
I was asking relevant questions, which he was being squirrely about. And you saw it, and you felt bad for him, and then you started busting my chops.
Oh, Susie, I did not feel bad for him.
Okay, my bad, but you didn't like the situation.
Don't accuse me of having feelings, okay? I don't appreciate that.
Okay.
I'm polar FI, okay? That's one of my superpowers. I don't have to feel things.
You're being such an ice queen right now.
I know. I am. So they call me Electra, goddess of the night.
Oh, so that's you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dan, are we ready to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up. Thanks a lot for your time. It was pretty fun. Cool. So yeah, tell you guys can keep in touch too if you want about the stickers, so that your Amazon store or whatever when you get that up.
I'll see what happens with that. Kimberly doesn't understand the process. But
I'll put my email address in here.
Is it mbtigifts@gmail.com?
No, I don't use. I don't think I use the MBTI Gifts email. I think actually I do have. I might have a contact form on the website. Let me just see.
DanielDavidAllen@gmail.com.
There it is.
That's not actually your name though. It's just
That's my
you
full.
just get 3 names at random.
That's my full three first name.
Well, my email is Eric Strauss backwards, so it's Suart Sire,
Okay.
SSUARTSCIRE@gmail.com.
All right, let me write that down.
Here, I'll put it in here.
Okay, cool.
SSUARTSCIRE@gmail.com.
Awesome. Hey, and you know what? By the way, if you have anything you want to like write, and I'll slap it on the MBTI Gifts website. You know, like if you have anything that you just want to put content out there that you think people would like benefit from reading, like I'll put it up there.
Okay, I'll send you some stuff.
Cool.
No problem.
All right. Happy trails.
All right, see you later.
Play the theme song. No, you got to play the theme song. No, okay.
Wait a minute. I don't know if it's...
You have to dance in the background, Dan.
What's that?
You have to dance in the background.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta-
You
Yeah.
might
This is what I do
just
usually.
get tired, 'cause you're that type. And I've been waiting to pull you over all night. Can't believe.
Come on, Dan.
He says he's my ENTP, but seems better.
I don't know what dance move that is.
Police.
Cool.
There.
Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
I'll eat all the cheese.